How is it going, guys? Malagant here. We're gonna look into my loot filter that I've created for leveling characters personally, but it's going to be available to you. The link is going to be down below in the description, but it's available on Lost Epoch tools basically. And the reason that I made this loot filter for myself is because I wanted to have basically a loot filter for any character that I create from now on, because I ended up, finding myself, oh, we need a loot filter again. We need a loot filter every single time I reroll or make a new build or just like make a leveling video. I had to make a loot filter every single time, and this time I sat down and I made it so that like it's basically covering most of the things that I would like it to cover towards the empowered monoliths. At empowered monoliths, this loot filter would not be enough, even though it is still capable of showing you exalted items, set items, unique items with LPs, or like emphasizing T7 affixes. You would need more. You would need to like basically go into the exalted affixes and say that like, okay, these are useless, don't show them to me. These are very low in value, don't show those to me. Show me these, emphasize these, because I would like to craft on those, because they might be very valuable if certain crafts actually manage to hit, etc. You get what I'm saying. So that you would need a better end game loot filter with this when you're in the empowered. So don't use this loot filter for the empowered at all. The sole purpose of this is going to be basically an all character loot filter for just leveling purposes up until empowered, and I am going to be using it for myself, and if you would like to use it as well, it's going to be in the description down below. You can find it, find the link there. The only thing that you should know, or two things perhaps, one of them is the coloring. I put red color basically for Shatters, and if you would like to add more Shatters stuff, so it has like all resistance, hybrid health, stun, and couple other stuff like skill shatters from like classes right now available, at least like the stuff that are rolling higher than tier 3. But if you'd like to add more affixes to it, obviously feel free to. But the red color on the floor means like it's a shatter item. You will need to use a rune of shattering on it as long as you would like to. Yellow item is a rare item. Obviously it can be an upgrade when they are emphasized, so they're like bigger fonts. It means that they're more valuable than the normal ones. The normal ones are going to be disappearing at level 40. And the teal turquoise is going to be for the idols. That said, the only thing, or the second thing that you should know, and the only thing that you will have to do when you load the loot filter onto a character before starting leveling, is you will need to select one of these. So if you're using an attunement character that you're like interested in the attunement stat, you're going to need to select that. If you're interested in 2 stats, you're going to need to select them both. If you're just interested in strength and not dexterity, not intelligence, not attunement, you just select strength. The same thing can be said for like int alone, or int and dex at the same time, or just dex alone. You understand the idea. It is how you're going to be basically showing the valuable items towards that main stat. The rest of the rules are completely shared. Maybe I can talk about the downside a little bit. The downside is most likely the weapons, especially in the early game. Bases are a little bit too important in this game, and I didn't necessarily like include the bases in here. So what I would do personally is, if I'm playing like a damage over time and I'm gonna hold like a scepter in my hands, I would go ahead and add a rule for that specific character to this loot filter and say that like, show me this scepter with damage over time immediately and I'll craft on it, and that will be the all. But I couldn't really figure out a way to like add this rule for literally every possible scenario. So that's going to be the downside of this loot filter. I would like you to remember, or like consider that if you choose to use this loot filter for yourself. So if you're playing a bow character, remember that like item types are very important. When you hit level 35, when you hit level 45, whatever, check from add a rule, check from item types right there. Go to two-handers, bow, and check which bows are available to you at what levels, okay? And then select it and show it to yourself so that like you can immediately craft on that bow and get yourself an upgrade that way. It's going to be pretty important for you. I would say that like that is probably the only downside to this loot filter right now, but as I continue playing with it, as I continue leveling characters, I am sure I'm going to be realizing some stuff are missing. I'm 100% sure. I'm going to be updating it, And as I update it, I'll obviously be updating it on the website as well, so the newer versions are going to be available to you as well. Thank you for watching, YouTube. I hope it's going to be useful, and I'm gonna catch you next time. Peace.